we thank you for bringing us together this evening to celebrate excellence, dedication, and the spirit of innovation. We are grateful for the talents that you have placed in each of us, the ability to imagine, design, build for the good of others. As we honor the achievements of our peers, may this occasion inspire us all to pursue integrity, wisdom, and purpose in our work. Bless every person here, our leaders, teams, and families who support our efforts. Grant us continued guidance in shaping ideas that uplift our communities and glorify you through our service. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
You may be seated as soon as Her Excellency has seated. Ma'am, you may be seated. Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, Engineer the Most Honorable Richard Edgell, Engineer Fellow the Honorable Tony Gibbs, Mr. Daniel Best, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Engineer Ray Moore, President of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, Engineer Fellow Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown, immediate past President of BAPE, the Executive of BAPE, Fellows, engineers, members, ladies, and gentlemen. Welcome to the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers 2025 Annual Engineering Awards and Dinner. It's being held this evening at the lovely Wyndham Grand Barbados, Sam Lawrence Castle and Spa. Your Excellency, thank you for agreeing to be with us again this year. We are very much appreciative of your presence this evening. Fellow colleagues, it's always nice to, at least for once a year, leave the job site, take off the boots and the high-vis vests and the helmets, and dust off those suits that fit a little tightly every year and assemble to celebrate each other's achievements. So I want to give you very much a warm welcome and ask you to give yourselves a round of applause for being here this evening. I would ask at this moment that we just take a brief moment to remember those colleagues who have passed in the last year since we have gathered here together to celebrate. This year we have lost Engineer Angus Edgell, Engineer Eric Clark, Engineer Robert Maycott, Engineer Rodney Foster, and Engineering Fellow Andrew Gittins. Could we please bow your heads for a moment of silence? Thank you so much. Life is fleeting, and at times we do have to take a moment just to reflect. I would ask to welcome to the stage at this point in time President Engineer Ray Moore to deliver his welcome address. President Moore.
Protocol having been established, good evening to everyone. It is my duty tonight to welcome you all to the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers Annual Engineering Awards and Dinner 2025 under the theme, Designing Our Future, Unlocking Our True Potential. Now, I was reminded by my wife earlier this week that I'm not here to give the feature address. There's a feature speaker already. So please give your welcome and come and sit down. So I had the very challenging task of cutting down my 85-page welcome address. And I think I've done a pretty decent job of that. But forgive me as I ask you to just reflect for a moment on the theme, Designing Our Future, Unlocking Our True Potential. It is a theme that defines not just what we do as engineers, but who we are and what we stand for. Designing our future isn't just about building the next big thing. It's about unlocking human potential. It's about reimagining how we live, build, and connect responsibly, sustainably, and intelligently. As engineers, we're no longer working in silos. We're at the heart of systems that power cities, economies, and ecosystems. And with the challenges we face today, climate change, resource depletion, and digital disruption, we need to engineer with purpose and foresight. I believe that this can be done through a number of ways. Number one, embracing new technologies, products, software, and services such as BIM, 3D printing, and cloud-based platforms. Number two, using new materials for infrastructure and building. For example, self-healing concrete, carbon sequestering, cement, modular construction. Number three, unlocking more efficient business processes, such as using real-time data analytics, this is to inform business decisions, and lean construction techniques. Number four, leveraging artificial intelligence and drones in engineering work. We know that artificial intelligence could assist with analyzing massive data sets, optimizing structural designs, and simulating multiple outcomes, turning weeks of work into hours. Autonomous construction equipment increases safety and precision in jobs. Use of drones can be used for surveying and inspections where the jobs are highly dangerous and inaccessible. And then finally, number five, digital communication with stakeholders through virtual reality, walkthroughs, and real-time dashboards. So in conclusion, as we ask ourselves again the question, what does it mean to design our future? We could say it means embracing innovation, yes, but it also means grounding our work in purpose. As engineers, we have the tools and knowledge to shape a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient world. Whether through smart materials of course, artificial intelligence, or digital collaboration, we are unlocking the full potential of what engineering can do, not just for today's projects, but for generations to come. Our challenge, therefore, is not just to keep up, but to lead. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Mo. This evening, we are fortunate to have delivering our feature address, Mr. Daniel Bess, who is the President of the Caribbean Development Bank. And he will be speaking to us this evening on the topic, the role of engineering in the future development of Barbados. Mr. Bess is an engineer by profession and has ascended to the lofty heights of being the President of the Caribbean Development Bank. So, Engineer Bess, we do welcome you with warm arms this evening, and I invite you to the podium to deliver your address.
Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, President of the Republic of Barbados, Engineer, the Most Honorable Richard Edgell, Engineer Fellow, the Honorable Tony Gibbs, Engineer Ray Moore, President of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, Engineer Fellow Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown, immediate past President of BAPE, the Executive of BAPE, Fellows, Engineers, members, ladies, and gentlemen, good evening. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today, not only as President of the Caribbean Development Bank and a fellow engineer, the first to hold the position I now hold at the Caribbean Development Bank, but as a firm believer in the transformative power of engineering. Our theme this evening, designing our future, unlocking our true potential, is not just a slogan. It is a call to action. It is a challenge to reimagine how we build, how we innovate, and how we empower our region to thrive in an era defined by rapid change. This theme, in fact, aligns nicely with the vision of rebirth I set out for the Caribbean Development Bank. The vision of rebirth, set on the pillars of innovate, transform, and thrive for a resilient future, captures our intent to be pioneers in the delivery of solutions to the Caribbean's development challenges. It also encapsulates our drive to leverage technology and technological expertise to address the complex management of systems necessary to ensure delivery of the social, environmental, and economic conditions that Caribbean people demand and rightfully deserve. We aim to support peaceful and prosperous lives and livelihoods, not only for today, but to ensure the resilience and sustainability critical for an enduring Caribbean civilization for generations in the future. However, before I go any further, let me extend heartfelt congratulations to the Executive Committee and the entire membership of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers. Your unwavering commitment to serving the people of Barbados, the wider Caribbean, and beyond is both commendable and inspiring. Since its founding, the association has stood as a pillar of excellence, born out of a shared vision to elevate the standards of our built environment and uphold the integrity of a profession vital for public safety. Today, the relevance of your work continues to resonate, as evidenced by the consistent demand for your expert voices in national and regional discourse. Engineering in Barbados has indeed had a rich and proud history. In fact, the story of Barbados is in many ways the story of engineering. In 1884, the Barbados Telephone Company was established, marking the beginning of the island's telephone network. In 1893, the Bridgetown screwed up. A Victorian engineering marvel opened its gates, the only one of its kind remaining in the world today. It remains a testament to the foresight and craftsmanship of Barbadian engineers. Since 1911, the Barbados Light and Power has provided electricity to Barbadian homes and businesses and institutions. Sewell Airport, the forerunner of the now Grantley Adams International Airport, came into being in 1956. It was then, and is now, one of the critical links in the region's aviation infrastructure and a vital facility in our tourism-dependent economy. In 1964, the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers was established, and in 1973, standards oversight was institutionalized with the formal establishment of the Barbados National Standards Institute, further professionalizing the field. In 1989, the ABC Highway was opened, providing more efficient movement of goods and persons throughout the country and opening new lands for development. This list is not exhaustive, friends, but it gives us a strong sense of the legacy of engineering leadership that Barbados has had to adapt to, survive with, and lead, turning geographical constraints into strategic advantages. We, however, stand at a defining moment in the history of Barbados and the wider Caribbean. We face a convergence of global challenges: climate change, widening infrastructure gaps, socio-economic inequality, and the increasing threat of natural hazards. Yet with every challenge comes opportunity, opportunities for innovation, transformation, and resilience. And at the forefront of this transformation are our engineers. You are not only responsible for crafting solutions, but also for anticipating tomorrow's needs and for designing systems and infrastructure that will serve generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, the Caribbean faces critical development challenges, where engineers are well poised to help craft the solutions and where the CDB has been particularly active. Let's start with water. Water security in the Caribbean is under significant threat due to a combination of climatic, institutional, and infrastructural challenges. Many Caribbean countries are already water stressed, with projections indicating worsening conditions due to climate change. For example, rainfall is expected to decline by up to 35% by the end of the century in southern and southeastern Caribbean zones, while temperatures, if we don't get it right, may rise by as much as 4 degrees Celsius, intensifying droughts and reducing fresh water availability. Historical data show that countries like the Bahamas, Belize, and Antigua and Barbuda have already experienced a minimum 40% decline in freshwater resources. Sea level rise averaging 1.8 millimeters per year further threatens coastal aquifers through saline intrusion, as observed in Jamaica and Guyana. Institutionally, water governance is fragmented and underdeveloped. Only 22% of Caribbean households are connected to central sewerage systems, and approximately 85% of untreated wastewater is discharged into the sea. Many utilities lack creditworthiness and operate with high levels of non-revenue water ranging from 17 to 66%, primarily due to aging infrastructure, leaks, and poor metering. Data gaps are pervasive. Only 8 of the 19 borrowing member countries of the Caribbean Development Bank have basic stream flow and groundwater data, and just 3 have usable rainfall data for hydrological modeling. 3. But what does this mean for the average Caribbean citizen? It means people experience high turbidity levels, rendering the resource unusable. Some have to suffer the inconvenience of collecting water, hours of instruction lost due to school closure. Livelihoods are placed at risk due to business closures, and farmers risk not being able to access sufficient water for their produce. CDB is, of course, doing its best to support its member states, from upgrading water and wastewater infrastructure in Dominica to expanding access in Belize's Ambergris Key and enhancing supply systems in St. Lucia's Vieux Fort. CDB is addressing both urban and rural needs. In Jamaica, 6 rural water supply initiatives are improving access for 150,000 people, while Grenada benefits from integrated wastewater and water management solutions. Additionally, through a Euro $100 million partnership with the European Investment Bank, CDB is supporting water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure across 14 countries, reinforcing climate resilience and environmental sustainability. These efforts reflect our commitment to ensuring safe, reliable, and equitable water access for Caribbean families. On food security, the Caribbean is confronting a profound food security crisis that demands urgent, coordinated action across engineering, policy, and business sectors. Over 57% of the population in the English-speaking Caribbean is now moderately or severely food insecure, driven by a dangerous dependence on food imports. Up to 80% of domestic consumption in some countries, which exposes the region to global supply chain disruptions and price shocks. The COVID-19 pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war disrupted supply chains, reduced tourism revenues, and increased food prices, exacerbating food insecurity across our beautiful region. In 2022, food inflation rose by 10.2% across 20 Caribbean countries. Climate change compounds these vulnerabilities with increasingly frequent droughts, floods, and hurricanes devastating agricultural output and rural livelihoods. The region's agri-food systems are further constrained by low productivity, outdated infrastructure, weak market linkages, and under-resourced extension services. The agricultural workforce itself is aging, self-taught, and declining in number. Extension services are under-resourced with outdated methods and limited reach. Smallholder farmers, women, and youth face systemic barriers to finance, technology, and market access, limiting their ability to contribute to resilient food systems. Moreover, the cost of a healthy diet in the Caribbean is the highest in the world, making nutritious food unaffordable for millions. These challenges are not just agricultural, they are economic, infrastructural, and social. Addressing them requires investment in climate-smart technologies, regional trade facilitation, modern logistics, and digital platforms for knowledge transfer. The Caribbean Development Bank is advancing climate-smart agriculture across the region through targeted, innovative interventions that build resilience and sustainability. Our Climate Resilient Agriculture Program supports Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines with strategic investments in water management, soil health, data infrastructure, and financial access. In Dominica, CDB is co-funding a US $1.24 million technical assistance project focused on climate-smart irrigation, aquaponics, soil mapping, and disaster risk reduction. Complementing these efforts is the Climate-Smart Agriculture Knowledge and Information Platform, which is a regional digital hub designed to modernize agricultural extension services, facilitate technology transfer, and strengthen human capital, particularly among women and youth. Together, these initiatives reflect CDB's commitment to transforming Caribbean agriculture into a more adaptive, inclusive, and future-ready sector. However, engineers, government leaders, and private sector partners must now work together to transform these initiatives into scalable solutions that secure our region's future. On energy security, the Caribbean faces a persistent energy security crisis rooted in its heavy dependence on imported fossil fuels, which exposes the region to global price shocks, supply disruptions, and foreign exchange volatility. Despite abundant renewable energy resources, solar, wind, geothermal, and marine, most countries have made limited progress in transitioning to cleaner energy systems, leaving electricity costs among the highest in the world. Aging infrastructure, weak regulatory frameworks, and limited access to affordable financing further constrain the pace of investment in resilient low-carbon technologies. These challenges are compounded by climate vulnerability, social inequities in energy access, and the urgent need to modernize grids to support distributed generation, storage, and electrification of transport. Addressing these issues demands coordinated engineering solutions, bold policy reform, and strategic investment to build a secure, sustainable energy future for the Caribbean. The resilience of our transport infrastructure in the Caribbean is increasingly challenged by climate change and natural disasters. with many of our borrowing member countries facing systemic vulnerabilities. Coastal transport assets, such as ports, airports, and roads, are particularly exposed to sea level rise, storm surges, and hurricanes. Most major airports are located near coastlines, making them susceptible to flooding and operational disruptions. Road networks often lack redundancy and are built to outdated standards, limiting their ability to withstand extreme weather events. Public transport systems are underdeveloped and informal modes dominate, contributing to inefficiencies and safety concerns. The CDB has recognized these challenges and is promoting integrated climate-resilient transport strategies, including the use of green technologies, improved maintenance systems, and disaster risk reduction measures. In fact, some of the bank's signature projects are in the transport infrastructure sector. We have funded the development of the Kingstown Port in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to the tune of US $250 million in total with the United Kingdom. And the Linden to Mabura Hills Road project in Guyana, over $190 million, again with the UK, which will open trade between Guyana and Brazil. Right here in Barbados, we supported the rehabilitation and pavement expansion at Grantley Adams Airport, over $40 million US. However, significant infrastructure gaps remain. And many countries are caught in a cycle of rebuilding after disasters without the resources to upgrade infrastructure to resilient standards. Building an urban infrastructure across the Caribbean also face considerable resilience deficits. Urban areas are expanded rapidly, often informally with limited planning and weak enforcement of building codes. Many structures are not designed to withstand the increasing intensity of hurricanes, floods, and heat waves. The CDB's urban sector policy and strategy emphasizes the need for sustainable and inclusive urban development, advocating for updated regulations, improved land use planning, and investment in resilient housing and public facilities. The State of the Caribbean Climate Report highlights the growing risk posed by rising temperatures, sea level rise, and extreme weather events which threaten both physical infrastructure and social systems. To address these risks, the region must prioritize proactive planning, cross-sectoral coordination, and the integration of climate data into decision making, strengthening institutional capacity, promoting public-private partnerships, and leveraging regional expertise to build in long-term resilience in the built environment. Which brings us to unlocking the potential. At CDB, our commitment to sustainable development in our member countries, including Barbados, is unwavering. We have made considerable progress in areas such as economic stability, infrastructure investment, and regional resilience, but we must now ask ourselves an essential question. Are we, as a region, truly unlocking the full potential of our people, our industries, and our resources? To answer that, we must recognize the crucial role engineers play in shaping society. Engineers are not merely technical experts, they are visionaries. You turn abstract problems into tangible, lasting solutions. Solutions that drive social mobility, economic growth, and environmental protection. Engineering is more than a profession, it is a calling. It is about building resilient infrastructure to withstand hurricanes, floods, and earthquakes, creating renewable energy systems that free us from dependency on imported fossil fuels, designing communities that are connected, safe, and equitable. And in today's world, engineering must evolve. We must embrace innovation and foster collaboration. Advances in material science, digital infrastructure, and data-driven decision-making have opened the door to new breakthroughs. But to seize these opportunities, we must work together across disciplines, generations, and sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, we must design resilience. The impact of climate resilient engineering is not theoretical. It is visible. As a small island developing state whose economy is very dependent on coastal tourism, Barbados has had to prioritize resilience against the impacts of coastal hazards. This requires significant investment in climate-proof, civil, and more importantly, coastal engineering solutions to protect not only the coastal ecosystems, but the critical infrastructure as well. Prior to the construction of the Richard Haynes Boardwalk in 2007, hurricanes like Ivan in 2004 left the south coast of Christchurch vulnerable to devastation. Fast forward to 2024, when Hurricane Beryl struck. The same stretch of coastline, protected by this engineered intervention, sustained minimal damage. Businesses were open and operating the very next day. This is not just success. It is proof that engineering saves lives and livelihoods. In the renewable energy space, Barbados has set an ambitious target: 100% renewable energy and carbon neutrality by 2030. That goal demands not just vision, it demands engineering excellence. Engineers will be at the forefront of scaling solar, wind, and ocean energy, designing smart grids and decentralized systems, supporting government implementation plan aligned with the national energy policy. And beyond energy, digital transformation and smart urban planning will redefine how our cities function, how people move, work, and live. Engineers must lead the integration of data, design, and human-centered innovation. Friends, engineering lies at the heart of Caribbean energy security. From the design of resilient grids to the integration of renewables and battery systems, engineers turn ambition into reliable power. Each innovation, whether in solar, wind, or hydropower, brings efficiency, brings us closer to energy independence, and shields our economies from volatile fossil fuel markets. Engineering excellence ensures that the Caribbean's energy future is not just cleaner, but smarter and more secure. We must engineer a more inclusive Barbados. True development is not measured by megawatts, bandwidth, or concrete alone. It is measured by impact on people's lives. I've spoken about the importance of food, water, and energy security, the absolute necessity of resilient infrastructure in securing our region's future, but engineering must also drive inclusive growth by developing affordable housing, where we need innovative design and construction methods that make housing accessible to all Barbadians without compromising quality or safety, and strengthening education and human resource development to develop future engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, I must commend the government of Barbados for the steps taken to incorporate advances in prefabricated systems, light gauge steel, and thermally resistant composite materials in the creation of affordable housing. These can lower construction costs and shorten build times for housing, while maintaining structural integrity suitable for our tropical and hurricane-prone environment. At the same time, we must integrate sustainability into every design decision. Affordable housing should not come at the expense of the environment. We can incorporate rainwater harvesting, solar energy systems, natural ventilation, and waste recycling into even the most modest of homes. These features reduce household expenses and promote resilience against climate change, a growing reality for small states like ours. Most importantly, housing must be people-centered. Communities are not built from concrete and steel alone. They are shaped by social connection, safety, and pride of place. Affordable housing development should include public spaces, green areas, and access to services that enhance quality of life and encourage community engagement. As mentioned earlier, engineering has always been the engine of innovation and progress. From the bridges that connect our communities to the technology that drives our daily lives, engineers shape the modern world. Yet every skilled engineer stands on the foundation built by a strong education, continuous learning, and mentorship. Without these pillars, the profession cannot grow, adapt, or lead in solving the challenges of tomorrow. In today's rapidly changing world, marked by the climate crisis, digital transformation, and global competition, the demand for innovative, resilient, and forward-thinking engineers has never been greater. To meet this demand, we must reimagine how we educate and train the next generation. Firstly, we must strengthen our education systems to nurture creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills from an early age. Engineering education should not only teach formulas and designs, but should also encourage curiosity, innovation, and teamwork. Universities and technical institutions must work hand in hand with industry to ensure that what is taught in the classroom reflects the skills needed in the real world. Secondly, education and human resource development must be practical. We need mentorship programs, internships, and research opportunities that give young engineers hands-on experience. When students engage in real projects, whether in renewable energy, infrastructure development, or digital innovation, they gain confidence and develop a deeper understanding of their impact on the society. Thirdly, professional development should be a lifelong journey. As technology evolves, engineers must be empowered to continuously upgrade their knowledge and adapt to emerging fields such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and sustainable development. Continuous learning should be encouraged through workshops, certifications, and regional collaboration. In small island developing states like ours, capacity building is essential. We must create opportunities that allow our brightest minds to contribute here at home. Designing resilient infrastructure, managing natural resources, and driving technological advancement that reflect our unique challenges and aspirations. We need them to stay home. 60% of the Caribbean's matriculated population are building economies outside of the region. We can't grow as a region if that continues. But education and human resource development are not the responsibility of schools alone. Governments, private sectors, and professional organizations must work together to create policies, funding, and partnership that support engineering excellence. When we invest in the education of our future engineers, we are investing in the foundation of national resilience and progress. At CDB, we do not see engineering as a cost. We see it as a critical investment. We are proud to support sustainable infrastructure projects across the region that prioritize sustainability and resilience, technical assistance and training for engineering professionals, strategic partnerships with organizations like the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers. These kind of strategic partnerships will be key to fostering the kind of collaboration that will drive sustainable development. Together, we must foster collaboration, not only between engineers and policymakers, but with scientists, educators, businesses, and communities to deliver holistic solutions. The next generation of engineers must be equipped not only with technical skills, but with the mindset to lead. That is why CDB is expanding access to STEM education, promoting mentorship, and building professional development pathways for young professionals. Innovation and sustainability are not optional, they are non-negotiable. Smart infrastructure, renewable energy, digital infrastructure, climate-proof design, these must become standard practice, not exceptions. We are designing for a future in which every solution must be resilient, inclusive, and future ready. As I close, let me say this. Engineering, the application of scientific principles to design, build, and operate structures, machines, and processes is, by definition, the pivotal service our societies must have in the battle for climate resilience, energy security, food, and water sovereignty. Engineers are the stewards of innovation, the unsung force behind every bridge, building, and system that supports daily life. Engineering is the invisible backbone of national development, from our roads and other transport systems to the energy that powers our homes and businesses, from our water and sanitation systems to the infrastructure that protects us from natural disasters and the telecommunication systems central to the fifth industrial revolution and the reimagining of how people and systems work. A nation that prioritizes engineering is a nation equipped to innovate, to compete, and ultimately to endure. Designing our future is not about reacting to the moment. It is about building for the long term. It is about creating a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable Caribbean, engineered with intention and purpose. To you, the engineers of Barbados, you are not just builders. You are nation shapers. You are not just problem solvers. You are visionaries. You are not just designers. You are defenders of our future. Let us move forward with confidence and clarity. Let us reimagine what is possible, redefine what is sustainable, and reinforce what is equitable. Because the future of Barbados will not just be envisioned, it will be engineered. And it will be engineered by you. May your work continue to inspire, uplift, and endure. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Certainly a very powerful message with plenty of nuggets there for persons to grasp. Mr. Best spoke of pioneers, of engineers being pioneers of solutions for Caribbean challenges, to use technology for those solutions. He went on to give us the story of engineering in Barbados and how it plays off in tandem with the story of Barbados's development over time. And he charted a path from as early on as the Barbados Telephone Company, Screw Dock, Light and Power, all the way through to the ABC Highway. He spoke about opportunities in innovation and transformation, and that engineers needed to be in the forefront of such. He then went into a bit of what the Caribbean Development Bank has been doing as its charter in terms of water, in terms of food security, in terms of energy security, and in terms of transportation, diversification, and transformation. And the need to integrate climate data into government decision making. I think that if the press is here, please make sure you make a note of that. The need to integrate climate data and data generally into governmental decision making. He went on to speak a bit about development, that engineer was more than a profession, that it is indeed a calling, and that in today's world, that engineering needed to evolve, and we must all design with resilience in mind. He spoke a bit about the coastal engineering challenges facing the region. He spoke about the importance, and I think the major takeaway from this that he continued to hammer stanza after stanza was the need for engineers to lead, not just to sit in the background and be busy doing calculations, but to stand up and to stand firm and to lead. If people with common sense don't lead, people without common sense will. So make a determination which side of the fence you guys want to be on, all right? It's no surprise that the Nobel laureate that was announced yesterday is an engineer. So if you don't know that, you know that now. So the next generations of engineers must be equipped with the ability to lead. And I think that is the takeaway, certainly, that Mr. Best would want us to leave here tonight with. A challenge to us all, a challenge that has been thrown down time and time again by Lieutenant Brown in the past, for engineers to stand up, be recognized, and to lead. So I hope that you will take away the sentinel point of tonight's discussion when you leave here.